Welcome, 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 all you entertainment holics out there in entertainment land. It's time yet again for another thrilling, exciting installment of, you guessed it, Wicked Entertaining, coming at you live each and every Friday night from 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific Time. That's 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Right here on Rock Rage Radio and Rock Rage Live. You can watch us live on our YouTube channel, Get Real Global TV. We're also Get Real Global Radio, KGRL on Spreaker, and we are Get Real Global TV on Twitch and TikTok. You can check out our Linktree page to see all of our social media and website links, and then you type in at Jennifer DeVoe Muse. And we're also syndicated on iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube Music, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, plus pretty much everywhere else you can watch or listen to podcasts. We are distributed by Sony Music Entertainment, Sony Music Publishing, The Orchard by Sony, and 50/50 Global Music Incorporated. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Jennifer DeVoe Muse. Hello to everyone watching or listening to this broadcast around the world. Now, let's say, hold on, there's too many people here. I'm like, give me a second. Where are you, Amy? Let's say hello to the sultry songstress, Amy Bowman, in the house.
Well, hello. Happy Friday.
Woo! Happy Friday.
How's it going?
End of another work week. Good. How's it going with you?
Good. Hanging in there.
All right.
Yep. Well, I ran my toe over this week, so it's all like a little big fat sausage. Yeah, there's a blue. Yeah, no shit. There's a blue bruise all over it, and I'm like, ah, oh, great. Barely walking, but I'm walking.
Oh, God. You didn't break it? You didn't break it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, you're a nurse. I would hope you would fucking know if you broke a toe.
It'd be worse if it was broken.
I'm going to say, aren't you the professional?
Right. I professionally assessed it, and it seems fine. Thank you.
She professionally rolled over her toe and broke it. And it's the Mag Daddy of Metal, hey! Tyler Staver in the house.
What's up?
What's up?
Amy, I saw about your toe. I'm sorry. That sucks. Leave it to you to roll your own toe over and break it.
Oh, yeah. Hey.
I was in there laughing about her sausage toe. And she's like,
but I saw it. But also you went in karaoke though. So hey, somebody's singing again. What's up?
Well, you know, getting over the stage frights here and there. Something's up, but I don't.
Hell know. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Boost.
As the OG drag queen Alyssa Edwards once said, okay. Boost!
Boost!
I'm a beast on stage. Shut up. Anyway. You should not be having no jitters, woman.
I know. Anyway. It did come natural. Right? It did come natural. Soon as it's one of those weird things that once I hold a mic, it's all natural. It's like
it just comes all back to you and stuff.
Yeah. And that's when you know you were meant for it.
Exactly. Yeah. And here we go.
Exactly.
It's none other than Gina Stewart, about to be Gina Staver.
Yeah, I don't know. I might take her last name. We haven't decided yet.
You better not be one of those motherfucking goddamn new age men who did that whole hyphenated fucking name. I swear to God.
Well, no. I might just take her last name.
Okay.
We'll see.
Blessing thing? I don't know. Anyway.
It's more of my family. Well, not my family. More or less, the Staver name is kind of problematic in some ways. So taking her last name would give me a fresh start on life a little bit. So it's kind of like that new life, new me, thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, what do I know? I have 2 last names.
Wait, she does.
I couldn't decide. I just said fuck it, do both. But I'm one of those stubborn bitches that will not give up their maiden name.
Okay, well.
That's true.
I figured one of my children was going to have my last name.
Somebody.
I didn't want to keep the
somebody somewhere.
Husband's last name, so or well, whatever.
I don't know. It's a lot of with this relationship and everything. I'm much more happier, and like since things have changed and this to like things now, everything just seems to be so much better this go around. So I figured, make a whole change, and all that came from her. So
now I got to remember to call you the Mac Daddy of metal, Siler
Stewart.
Take a minute. I will eventually get it. Let me know when it's a legal name change. And
I'll let you know exactly when it happens for real.
I will do my best.
We booked it. We booked the chapel today, so the wedding is on Halloween night. We're getting married 4:00 in Lake Tahoe. It's happening.
Okay.
Nice.
I made him. I told him I was gonna fuck him up if he didn't live stream the wedding, so that the rest of us could be there.
Right.
Because I can't be here in person, and I will fuck him up. I'm just saying.
It's coming.
My little brother will.
It'll be live streamed. I promise.
It will be. I never had a brother. You're not going to rob me of this, and I will slap the shit out of you. I have 2 stepbrothers, okay, but I wasn't raised with them. You know what I mean? And they've always lived in Canada, and I've always lived in America, and I just I haven't seen. I think I've seen one of my brothers. Last time I saw him, I think I was 16, 17, maybe.
Oh, shit.
16. I'm old now, so yeah, it's been a long time. And the other brother, I think I briefly saw him for a few minutes in 1999.
Damn.
And
that's a long time ago.
I just don't know them. I know their names, about it. I know their ages.
Oh wow.
I just don't really. I've just never been close to that. To that part of the family. Well,
I'm your brother, and I promise you'll be at our wedding. If not, and not in physical body, you'll be there in spirit and on the screen.
Thank you. I see. I have you, and I have Nathan, and I have Warrior Dave.
Yep.
And so.
Hell yeah.
You are my 3 brothers from another mother.
Hell yeah.
I just decided to boycott random people along the way. But let's bring on our featured guest. I hope he hasn't fallen asleep because he just from tour. And we've got our featured guest today, musician and artist, illustrator. He's a producer, he's,
author,
filmmaker. He does a lot. This man is like
a lot.
A boost. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, a boost.
I saw Alyssa Edwards recently, and I want to run around saying beast now. Anyway. We're gonna bring our featured guest.
Hey,
where'd you go, Steven?
God, did we scare him off already?
He's there in sound.
We're insane people, and
is there no video?
Yeah, I don't see a video.
Oh, I see me.
I don't know what happened. I was like, what happened? We thought he ran away.
Hold on. Does that bring it back?
No, I don't know what happened.
Nope, we still can't see you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Not sure what's up with that.
The voice in the darkness.
All right.
Hold on. Oh, there we go.
Woo!
There we go.
Hey!
Hey!
I had to kick off the other one and then have you this one. Okay, perfect. Now we can see you. Yes, now we can see you. Awesome. This is our featured guest, Stephen Archer. We are very excited to have you on the show. Hell yeah.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I was when he brought me and Shyler, when he brought me to you, I was like, holy shit, kaiju. Fuck yeah.
Absolutely. So
I'll let you take it away, Charlotte, because
well, thank you so much. Absolutely. So, to tell you the truth, my wife is actually one of your biggest fans. She's met you before. I'll let her go into that a little bit more. But you're from your art style, your music style, your author style, everything that you've done, what I've seen you do so far is absolutely amazing. So, if you could just kind of give our listeners and our viewers kind of a rundown of what you do and what you're about, I would love that.
Sure. So the art has always been the main thing. Painting. I've got a degree in fine art from Corcoran School of Art in DC, which is unfortunately gone. But I've always been into music, done music. I started DJing when I was too young to get into the venues I was working at, and had bands shortly thereafter. To me, it's all very much the same thing. So it's just different tools. And it all feeds into each other, you know. And actually, what's going on currently is a good example of that. But I do just a ton of visual art paintings. I've got stuff all over. It's gone all over the world. My work was showed in the White House at one point, so that was kind of a weird thing.
Oh wow!
And I've done, I've had multiple bands over the years, and I've been in other people's bands. My main project for the last 20-something years with my wife has been Ego Likeness, which is a dark rock, electronic rock, sort of very atmospheric. It's primarily her vehicle. She's also an author. We actually just got back a few weeks ago from doing a 5-week book tour for her new book of poetry called Girls from the County.
Oh, wow.
And,
right.
So she is just an absolutely phenomenal author, writer. So that's primarily her vehicle. And then Stoneburner is my thing. It's very noisy, industrial for the most part. It's whatever.
It's amazing.
So, and then there's just
awesome.
Like that. So,
right.
Currently, I have a new book that just came out.
Yes.
2 days ago, called let's see if I can get it without the blur. Red in Tooth and Claw, which is a graphic novel and about kaijus.
Right.
Kind of a pair of. It's a love story. It's an extremely violent love story about a pair of celestial wolves. And after having spent my whole life making and doing what I do, it is the single best thing I've ever created. It's the thing that as an artist you wait for, hoping that, you'll see it as it happens. The thing that's like, well, if I die right now, I'm okay that this thing exists. It says all the things I have to say in the world. And so as of this moment, it covers all of the things I think are important about life. And I feel like even for as fantastical as the story is, it is a very human story, and it's very poignant to our experiences, I should hope.
Right.
The response I get from people would say this, so that's good.
Right. Awesome.
All of this came out of a record that I put out about 4 years ago, which originally told this story, and then a few years back I developed it into this, not expecting it to be this long. This is 200 something pages, and much more developed than I think I ever could have imagined it being. So that was quite a thing.
Right. That's awesome, man. So Gina's been kind of reading through it, I think, today and yesterday. Honey, do you have anything you want to ask?
Not really anything I want to ask. Just I'm absolutely just stunned by this book. The poetic way that you use words to convey your story is just enticing right from the beginning, and the artwork is, as always, just beautiful.
Yeah, most definitely.
I still have my 2022 Pro calendar.
Yep.
I wanted one of your original paintings when you were doing these, and I couldn't afford one, so best I could do was the calendar, and I will cherish it forever.
Well, yeah, I'll be putting the next round of those together for the end of the year. So those are always fun. I think I did 6 already for the year, and then I have to just do the remaining ones for that, and in between now and November. So.
Sorry, you can hear Merkimer on my side and Gina's side because he's trying to protect both mom and dad at the same time from 2 different rooms. Sorry.
What he's upset about.
I got blocked out, so I understand.
Oh man. I ask this to everybody we come on here, but with you, I especially want to know what is your. I mean, when it comes to I'll get to the music side, but when it comes to your art side, what is your influence there? Because for me, it seems to be very Poe-like that dark, that dark feeling, brooding style. But what is your influence into your art style?
Really, it's I take from everything. I was a really big fan of some of the graphic novels that came out in the late '80s. That like Bill Sienkiewicz did. I love his work a lot. But I mean, I really. I'm very agnostic when it comes to that sort of thing. I'll take from whatever makes sense, and stylistically, even with painting, well, with everything that I do, I don't limit what I do to any one style, much to the chagrin, perhaps, of the art world. So I enjoy anything. I enjoy playing with going as abstract as possible. I mean, and even with this, we go from fairly realistic sort of stuff. Much more kind of esque cartoon styles. It's whatever the. Everything I do is always driven by whatever the thing needs to be, and if the thing needs to have a certain language to speak about it, then that's what I'm going to go with, instead of trying to force it to be something other than what it needs to be.
Right.
Exactly. That's awesome.
I also get annoyed with myself if I do anything too much of any one thing. I will actively try and figure out what is the exact opposite and how far can I push that idea away from what I've been doing, just to try and I balance that out. It's really important for artists to push themselves way out from where they're comfortable.
Right.
And so you kind of label yourself as a nihilist. Am I right?
I wouldn't say that. No, I'm very much a glass half full sort of person.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I'm a nihilist. I'm
an anarchist in a way, so I kind of feel the wedge of it.
I know. I'm more. I'm very hopeful about. I think I'm disappointed. That's what I am. I'm not a nihilist.
Right. Okay. I get that.
I growing up, we were kind of, as a country, we were all very proud that we were number one in the world for science and things like that, and education, and that seems to have gone by the wayside, and I think that that's a real shame. We're allowing ourselves to beliefs just because they're nice and shiny versus actual facts.
Right.
They already confirm a narrative that we have, and I think that's a shame.
I understand. I didn't mean to label you in any way. I was just kind of from what I've seen so far.
No, it's fine. I am. I don't know. I don't like moralism. I think if more people would actually. The problem is that being positive takes work, and I think
exactly.
Don't want to do that. I think that they
exactly
to write off people they don't understand, or limit themselves to just the small volume of information they have in their lives, like not leaving never leaving the place that they were born and going out and seeing the world and meeting people and learning, just because somebody's different. That's not bad.
Right.
And mixing all of that up, and that's how you get culture, and that's what we're starting to rapidly lose. So, I think anything that I try and do, it always comes down to trying to push the boundaries of my audience, and not, I don't know, I'm always very actively saying, look, there is infinitely more in this world than any of us know, and you need to go out and you need to learn about it and learn about other cultures.
Amen.
Because otherwise,
absolutely.
I wish more people were like that.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Like seriously, I grew up the same way, always pushing boundaries, always like I wanted to learn about everything. I wanted to study theology. I wanted to study Scientology, everything, just everything, every religion, every subject. Don't mind limiting yourself.
Right, exactly. And I think when you start to lock into these ideas that what you believe is the only acceptable truth or whatever.
Give me 1 sec.
You hamstring everything. You hamstring the people around you. You limit what can be and what people can do, and I think that's awful.
Right.
It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Exactly.
When you put limits on education, which a lot of people are suggesting these days, I think it's appalling to me.
No, I agree completely.
Yes.
I try to
continue to grow. If you don't learn, you don't grow, and the more you educate yourself, the more you grow.
Yes.
Even in your own self, you're always growing. And if you're then everybody's the same.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely.
And I think that from a creative standpoint, I mean, I teach a lot, either formally or informally, and one of the things that I always try and get through younger people's heads or people's heads is that your brain and how you perceive everything and your understanding of everything, that's the biggest tool that you have access to. And the more that you bring in and the more you learn about things, you're able to filter it through all of that and then reinterpret it and put it back out. And if you're limiting that down to just, one genre of book or anything, what you get out is going to be this very narrow range of stuff.
Absolutely.
When we started Ego Likeness, a friend of mine had a band at the time, and he was like, I just came up with this, what's a great mix between Industrial Band 1 and Industrial Band 2. And I was like, cool, I'm trying to figure out a way to mix Fleetwood Mac and Skinny Puppy. You know,
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
It gives you so much more room to move, and the flip side of that is it's very difficult to market. Ego has all of my stuff has always been difficult to market because it's never been any one specific thing.
Right.
And we established that, you know, we weren't going to. I really resent it when bands put out a record and it's all essentially the same song. So
right.
you know, we established very early on that even from song to song, we were going to move around and just do whatever the song needed to be in order to work, much less from record to record. And so a friend of mine gave me a really wonderful compliment one time. It's someone I've known for 30 years. He was like, I never know exactly what I'm going to get with the next Stoneburner record or the next Stoneburner song. It's always going to be, and I hope to be able to maintain that, because the entire reason the newer version of Stoneburner, where I'm actually singing and writing lyrics for it, exists is because I had done 6 albums that was kind of this, it was basically a thought experiment. It was, what would dance music on Arrakis, you know, from Dune sound like? And so
I love that. That's so awesome.
It was really cool, and I really enjoyed doing it. But I did that, and I sat down to do the next one. I was like, you know, I could do this again, and the current fan base would love it, and it would just bore the living shit out of me. So I was like, so I'm going to write this industrial record that I've been telling myself that I was going to write for 30 years. And that was a whole new thing for me, just because, you know, with Ego, Donna does all of the writing for it, and she's a fantastic writer. So stepping into the role of lyricist and front person for that was kind of like having and feeling confident about it, which took a while to get to that point. But once I did, it was like finding this whole new tool set of being able to actually express these ideas and create these some of the material, or create stories that turn into this, or being in a fantastically privileged position of being able to literally yell at an audience and say, you know, these are things I think are important. There was recently, when a really horrific person took office a number of years back, I am not by nature a political animal, but when Trump and his group came out there and started trying to take away the rights of women and all of these other things, I felt that it was obligatory to step into that role when you have a voice and you have the ability to speak to whatever the size of an audience is and say, you know, these things are wrong. These things hurt people. And so I, you know, had to step into that role for a while with it. You know, it's nice to be, I won't say it's nice. It's, I think it's important to be able to do that when you have that vehicle. You know?
Yeah.
Do you feel like words flow from you, or I mean, do you feel like you have that ability to just write as you go?
No, I don't actually. One day Donna got up out of the bathtub, sat down at the piano, and an entire song called Wolves shot straight out of it. It was completely finished. She had written it all in her head without touching the piano. Wow. I don't work that way. I build things. It's weird for me when I never feel comfortable saying I'm a musician. But I'm very good with tools. I'm very good with figuring out how to make something do what I want it to do in order to work. You know, like I play guitar with Ego, and I can play instruments to a degree, but it's usually just well enough that I can get it to function the way I need it to function. And
I was going to ask this question. Don't you make some of the instruments you hear on some of those albums?
I don't make the instruments. I make the way you can control them. I make the way that you built different ways of controlling MIDI notes and things like that.
Right. Okay.
But like with lyrics and things like that, what I do, I have pages and pages and pages of notes that I take because I'm constantly reading, And
Okay.
so I will pull in lines or ideas from anything that I'm reading all the time, or just something that could sell. I did a song once called Dry Gun that came from me misreading a sign I saw in a grocery store. But, I will remove the context from whatever those things are. And then when time comes to write a record, I will go through all of that and find, 20 of them that are big enough concepts that I could build a song around them. And I take all the other ones and kind of move them into those piles and then kind of build off of that. Sometimes stuff does flow really nicely. But it's almost as much to my surprise as anything else, as anyone else's. It's the I have these touchstones for lyricists that because Stoneburner is and has always been, but really, really, really is now, is a reaction to what the industrial music has turned into. For me, growing up with this, I grew up I got into this before it was a thing. I got into it when it was Art of Noise, and then I got into punk, and then I discovered Skinny Puppy, and I was like, well, this is everything all at once, and that was really cool. And then you had this period up until about 1994 where it was still very experimental, and it was talking about things that really genuinely had depth to them. And I'm not saying that people don't do that anymore, but it turned into, the focus changed from trying to write good music, regardless of the end use of it, to trying to write dance music that was angry.
Right.
The idea of it being dance music superseded content. So you end up with just these bands with just garbage lyrics that have zero content. They don't give you anything to think about or talk about or discuss. It is trying to lowest common denominator, dirty girl, dirty boy, blah, blah, blah. And well, I have no problems with dance music. It takes a lot of skill to write a good dance song. I think that the using this as a voice, as an actual talking about things, got lost. I'll think to myself, how amazing it is. I can sit here and write, and make an entire song of MRI samples, just weird machine sounds, and then into something, out of anything in the world, and you choose to do this boring ass shit with it. I really resent it. I resent the, because I don't understand the point. It's to me, it often seems I am exchanging all of this work for popularity versus you have the opportunity to actually say something that could matter to people, and you're making it about you, and that's vanity.
So like a Trump supporter.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, that's certainly.
Or the orange person himself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that any time that you're, my point is that to me the idea and the art itself, that the thing that you are making. Okay, my space cakey way of explaining this, I do not literally mean it, but it's the best example I have. Is that everything ever made ever already exists out in this platonic ideal, floating around out in the ether as an idea, and your job as an artist is to go through without fucking it up. Because the more you inflict your will on the more it loses the innate quality that it already has to it. It already knows what needs to be perfect, and your job is to bring it through, and you can talk to it, and you can have a conversation, you can make suggestions like, hey, how about if I try doing this, and it can go well, let's see what happens. Hey, yeah, all right, cool, yeah, that idea works, let's keep it.
Right.
But the more that you force it into this idea, what you think it needs to be, the worse it gets. Because it again becomes about you and not this already important, perfect thing. So I think that when you are you're creating stuff with that, and you just make this decision that, well, the content of what I'm talking about doesn't matter, as long as people can dance to it. It seems like a cop out to me.
No, exactly. Right. Good point.
I have tried very, very hard to
absolutely
write material that sometimes it's about giant wolves, sometimes it's about I seem to destroy the world an awful lot in these songs. I did an EP a while back called Mass Driver, and it happened because I was getting ready to go on tour. I just needed some product to sell, so I had about 3 months. So I just knocked together. It's like I need more Mass Driver. Oh, cool, Mass Driver, right? And I came up with this story that gets told across a few of the songs on it, which is basically it's an artist who gets so angry at the lack of beauty in the world and how people are wasting that he decides to blow up the sun, render the entire solar system down into component parts to rebuild it in a more beautiful way. And it's incredibly selfish and incredibly awful, but I mean, I think it's definitely something to talk about. And so throughout the course of it, at one point, one of the songs is him putting the entire human race on trial and kind of saying, look, this is what you were doing. This is how you were kind of destroying everything, and you don't really care. And then the final song in it is him. It's a letter that he sends to the world in the remaining 9 minutes after the sun goes out, where he's basically saying, look, I get that this really sucks, but it's okay, because think about all the cool stuff I'm now going to do with all this thing. So I'm sorry you're dead, but there's something good coming out of it. So, I mean, just the point being is that you don't have to write just songs about some sort of cyborg rebellion with anything, or, I mean, and you can, maybe that's what really gets you off. Maybe that's what you really feel needs to be communicated to the world. Mm-hmm. It seems like it's been done an awful lot, so I'm not sure what the point of doing that is. Right. So maybe you're playing some other band as opposed to figuring out your own thing. And again, maybe that's the best you can do, So it's a hard call. I think I just wish that artists in general, would push themselves more. And if there's anything that I'm very active on social media, and I post a lot of process stuff as I am painting. And one of the things that I will often do is, all right, I've done of paintings in my life, and I will do these put up or shut up. Like, so you think you can paint? All right, here, reproduce these Rembrandts, and then you do it, or you don't do it, but you try.
Right.
To express yourself more clearly and more elegant. If one thing of being married to a poet has taught me, it's learning how to try and be as clear as possible with it in as simple a way as possible, which is really a very elegant way.
Right. I gotta ask. With so you're an amazing painter and an amazing artist. Have you done graphic novelization besides this book at all, ever?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned Poe earlier. I don't have a copy with me, but I did a few years ago. I did a graphic novel of Mask of the Red Death.
Oh, you got to send me that. You have to send me that, because Poe is one of my favorite. He is my favorite author. So
yeah, it's funny because I did it. I did it about a year. I did all of the artwork and laid it all out about a year before COVID hit, but then I didn't really finish it, and then it went out right at the beginning of COVID. Yeah, it was a weird thing. For some reason, within a very short period of time, about 3 or 4 different books I was reading all referenced it, and I Poe is great and all that. I'm not a huge fan in that. I dislike it. It's never really resonated with me, but the idea behind that particular story, the decadence of it, I'm also always been very interested in what happens when you, with cultures, when you limit external information. So
right.
I played around with it a bit. I personified the Red Death in a very different way. She's a female. She's very much a force of nature, and just it decimates everybody. Prior to that, my first book was actually a kid's book, came out about 20 years ago called Luna Maris that I wrote and illustrated.
Okay.
And it's a sweet little book about the moon coming out of the sky and turning into a boat. This is the ocean.
Okay.
But even there, I can pretty much guarantee it's the only children's book in it with a coelacanth. So that's pretty cool. I was actually invited down to NASA to read that to their
Wow.
That's awesome. Wow.
That is amazing.
That's amazing.
And I did another one, like a little fairy tale book called Red King Black Rook. And then Don and I have done a bunch of stuff together where I will do a lot of artwork. We've done one called Witches and one called Daughters of Lilith, where I will create essentially a character. I'll do the image for it, give it a title, and then I hand it off to her, and she writes it, and then hands it back to me, and I lay all the text and stuff out in an interesting way. So yeah, this is definitely the biggest and most ambitious project I've ever done. But I've done a shit ton of book covers. So
okay.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, it seems like that you've done it a million times before with the way it relays and the way that the book is done. It just I thought that maybe you've done more of this exact thing. I can't express enough how amazing your artwork actually is. And you can feel the art. You can feel what you're doing in the art. You can feel the words in the book. I can't wait to see more. And I'm gonna go. Gina and I have been going down like a long list of what you've been doing. So she's like she said, she's been a huge fan for a while. Your style of art is just awesome. So it's just cool to see what you've done and what you're doing, and then to hear your music. And to see what that's done. So you plan on keep doing music? Or are you going to progress more into the art, or just all of it?
Oh, no. I mean, it's all the same thing. It's just whatever makes sense for the. I've already got 20 something things blocked out for the next Stoneburner record, and then got plans for the new Ego record, and then all the stuff behind me, which is built to do one very specific thing that I broadcast live, and I use a very little bit in recording, but this all acts as one instrument that gets broadcast out online for another project that I do. So it's all the same thing, and it all feeds into itself. In many ways, the music. The music and touring with the bands tends to be more advertising for the other things that we do,
right?
Because financially, we do okay with that, but financially, the paintings are the major source of income. So if I can get somebody into the bands, and then following the rest of the stuff that we do, then I'm usually able to hopefully segue that into a calendar sale or something else. And so it all is part and parcel. And I enjoy playing live too much. I enjoy touring too much. And so much of that is it gives us a reason to travel.
Right.
And it gives us a reason to not be at home. We will be... Our 25th anniversary is coming up in October, married, and then a year and a half before that. So we've been together a very long time, and we are always at our best when we're on tour. It's when we're at home, I often just go down the hole of working. I'm painting, or I'm in the studio, or whatever.
Right.
And I was working on her writing, and if it wasn't for our cat, we would probably be out on the road more. But at home, Bill's. No, she's 18, and
shit!
She's a little bag of bones at this point. She's an old lady cat, and so we fret a little bit every time we leave her but we have people that come and stay with her every couple of days just to.
That's good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I know you said that you guys just got back from tour. So are you guys going back on tour soon, or what do you have going on from now on?
Let's see. Well, this is we did a couple of weeks with Ego Likeness earlier in the year. We came back. We did 5 weeks with Donna's book. So like 17 dates with that, I think. 16 dates with that. And then we just did a few shows. We're doing like a week and a half of shows with Stoneburner, then a couple one-offs. And then in November, I'll be out for a couple of weeks with the band Pig for like the tail end of their tour. And then who knows? In between now and November, I need to get that Stoneburner record finished up, and then we'll be starting more Ego stuff after that. And then there are things off in the distance that could happen next year, but I never know until the booking. Basically, I just go where the booking agent tells me to go. So once they say this is happening, then I'll do that. But there's always one of the things I had to learn when we first started touring. Actually, was one of the things that made me have to really learn to get my shit together with a lot of stuff. Was that like we went out on tour and we did it, and the first time, and it was like, oh, this is the only thing I've ever done in my life that makes sense. Like it uses every single thing I know how to do. I've been a performer my entire life. I've been doing art and all this other stuff, and it all comes together. And in order to make that work, you have to really learn how to think much, much further in advance. You know, particularly back when
Gotcha.
you were dealing with more physical media. You know, it's like, well, you have to record the record, then you get it mastered, and that takes a while. Then you have to plan for 6 months for that before the song comes out, and you have to plan for that. And so if you want to tour in a year and a half, you need to have this done now. So it's, you know, you have to learn how to do all that stuff, or things like this, which took 2 years to get from start to finish.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
so yeah, there's lots of stuff.
People don't realize how much goes into just one project.
Oh yeah.
One album, one book, one anything. People don't realize what it takes to make these wonderful pieces of media out there. You know?
Was two months. That was my full-time job every day for 8 to 10 hours a day. Was doing what turned out to be about 400 illustrations, because there's 2 more chapters that are downloadable with that, and that doesn't include the amount of time it took to do all the editing and everything, laying it out and everything like that. You know, if I'm really like painting, I do very quickly. Like thankfully, I just do it enough, and eventually, like I can knock out a painting this size in a day if I'm really rolling. But and then records can, you know, if I set aside time, I can plan about 2 months for a full length, and again, with that being my day job for that time period.
That's awesome. Okay.
So
now, is that a studio you're in right now? That's a lot of equipment behind you.
This is my this is kind of built for like I said, this is built for one specific project that I do. You know how it's my midlife crisis. You know how some guys have a project car in their garage. This is my project car.
I love it.
It's so I do not play music the way somebody like Donna can, where she can just sit down at the piano and play. I can pluck things out and make things work. When I paint, it's a very different animal. The entire goal when I'm painting is to get rid of that and just let it happen. Let the painting develop on its own, and we'll act on instinct. And I wanted to create an environment for music where that's like painting, and so that this very much does this. What I do with this is I set up the starting parameters where I say, okay, here's the key. I'll program in the key, the tempo, and I'll dial in whatever the instruments I want them the boxes to be, and then I hit start, and they go. And then I have all these faders where, like, for example, I'll have like 10 faders of drums, and one are like rock drums, tribal drums, industrial stuff, whatever. And they're all playing for 8 bars, and then they'll switch, all within the same style. So I'll bring that fader up, and I don't know. I know essentially what's going to be coming out of it, but not exactly what's going to come out of it. And then all of the all of that can be routed through effects, and I can mix video live into it, dialogue samples, just all of it. And so there's a lot of, it's this constant, if everything was brought up all at once, it would be awful. But so it is sculpting, it is figuring out where different parts, what parts need to be pushed forward and pushed back. Right. If you go to the Ego Likeness YouTube page and click on the live tab, there's hundreds of broadcasts of me doing this over the last 5 or 6 years in various forms. It is, and then I will often record all of them, find the best ones, and then every so often put those out as albums. So it's one of the very few times I get to kind of turn my brain off. I have a horrendous attention deficit disorder, and while it's easy to kind of go, haha, it's fun, let's go ride bikes, it's also a mental illness and can really fuck your life up. And consequently, I am extremely medicated for it. And so I have built systems to rein it in. And so, you know, every day is a balance between, okay, I'm going to go spend 4 hours painting, and I'm going to spend this amount of time in the studio. I'm going to go to the garage and put in the lights for the tour, or practice for the tour, or whatever. And then, so it's finding other ways to enjoy all of this. And this is a way. I have a very hard time doing things that are not productive. So this is a way to kind of create an environment that I'm enjoying, but still be productive.
I have the same issue, man. I'm bipolar, and my mind is the same way. I have to constantly be busy, constantly be doing something, constantly be doing a project. If I'm not doing 10 things at the same time, my brain goes and just fucking nuts. And it's hard sometimes to keep that like straight in like what path to go. And so I completely get it. And Schuyler has the same types of issues. You know what I mean? So we completely understand. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing too. I mean, Donna and I are both really sick, and we have worked very, very hard to not be, and sometimes we succeed and sometimes we don't. And it's, I tried, we both try and do a lot of outreach about that sort of thing, not so much to, that you can fix people, but just kind of say, hey, okay, you know, we're very public about it, and we talk about it a lot, and because
that's wonderful.
Because just to try and normalize it and be like, look, being sick is okay. Like one of the ways I always explain to people, I'm like, look, until you get your diagnosis, you're forgiven. That, you know, until you know what's going. Once you get that and you still know what's wrong, and you know what's wrong with you, and you still don't do anything about it, then you're an asshole, because you're just inflicting that on other people. And with particularly in the arts community, there are people that will often glorify this idea that mental illness is somehow making them better artists. And you know, our response to that is like, we're not good artists because we're sick. We are good artists in spite of the fact we have lost years of creative time that we could be using to do something that matters, and to going through the med cycle of go on and suffering for 3 months, see how it goes, go off, go on, go off. And then, you know, God forbid we both get sick at the same time. And so, you know, it's, you know, it's okay to have these problems, but, you know, we've talked about it before. It's like, you know, maybe sometime it would be nice to not have to be a good person, go off the meds, and then you can blame everybody else for your problems. And you might feel it doesn't always work that way. You know, like so it just depends on how much you're willing to not be a horrible person. You know?
I tell people all the time, like they see me pull out a shitload of bottles of medications, Because bipolar, anxiety, PTSD, seasonal affective disorder, all the shit, you know, people, they see the, you know, one side of me. They don't realize all the other fucking shit that's there that people don't get. And it's like, well, I didn't know you had these things wrong with you. Well, like, I just don't go around fucking talking about it all the time. I don't go like, oh yeah, hey, I'm here. I'm fucked up in the head. You know? But I want people to understand that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be the weirdo. It's okay to be that fucking whatever. It's okay to be different. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean you're broken, fucked up, whatever. You know what I mean?
But you have to be responsible. You have to own it, and you have to accept it, and you have to
exactly
make that decision if you're going to inflict it on other people.
I
agree.
I'm one of the advocates for this because between the last 10 years of life, and Jenny and Amy can attest to this, I lost everything you can lose in life.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to lose that shit. Sometimes you have to lose it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to learn.
Yeah. But take your medication, go to counseling, do whatever it is you got to do to be a better whatever, husband, wife, parent, whatever. You know what I mean? I can't imagine my life not being on meds, not doing what I need to do to take care of myself and take care of others.
Right. And then
be an advocate. Be an advocate, you know?
Yeah. I mean, because you can't, you know, a lot of people think, well, if I go on meds, that's all I have to do. And it's like, no, because then you have to change the program, you have to go through the therapy and all.
There's a lot.
You know, because you've built up all of these really awful habits to get around you with before you went on the meds, and now that you're on them, now it's kind of like you're balanced out, but you still are overcompensating, you know, for this
constant balancing. It's like you're a fucking guinea pig. Constant balancing, constant changes. I've been on so many different meds over the damn years.
Yeah, of course.
So many different ones, and you use tweaking this one and doing this, and you know, it's just like you're a guinea pig.
A few years ago, I did a song called "Identity by Diagnosis," and the chorus was, at the time, a list of every medication we had been on. And it was Ropinirole. Let's see if I can do this. Ropinirole. I don't know if I can do it without the music. Adderall, oxycodone, lithium, Ropinirole, Adderall, oxycodone, lithium, and some Valium. Shit! If you track down the video for it, actually, it's all listed as I'm singing through it. Right. But it was like 12 or 15 different things that we had both gone through, and it was just this idea that, you know, came out of this idea how you are not what your problems are, but you're still responsible for them. You still have to you know, step up and be a responsible person. Hopefully, you know, and again, looking at you know, the political situation right now, and I think so much of what we are seeing is the lack of focus and the lack of normalization of mental illnesses and mental health. You know, and I've noticed there's this really unfortunate cutoff with people where, you know, around 45 or so, where they might somewhere underneath know that they have problems and know that they maybe should do something about it, but there's this point where they kind of go, well, if I do that, then I have to actually be accountable for everything that I've done. And so the weight of being accountable for those actions outweighs just, this is just who I am, and I'm going to, you know, now I'm just going to be okay with making it everybody else's problem instead of actually, and it sucks because I've lost a decent number of friends very recently because they decided that it was easier to blame everyone else than it was to actually kind of try and be a normal person, be a better person.
Right.
People
also think that just because you're on medications that it fixes you. That you're somehow just magically fixed and a better person.
You still have to do all the programming. And particularly with bipolar, it's one of those things like you're never better. You are, varying degrees of okay. And that's never going to change. It's never going to lock in and stay that way. It's always going to be it's kind of like the opposite version of being an alcoholic. You're always an alcoholic. It's just whether or not you're able to maintain being sober. So it's kind of like with your meds. It's like you're always going to be sick, and these are just things that help you less. Be less.
Yeah, helps me to get through the best it can.
Right.
I just
my mother was a nurse, so we were always very comfortable with these kinds of discussions. And Donna's mother's a therapist. Donna's mother was one of the first woman therapists in the country. She has a certificate that has whatever the number was, like 8 or something like that. For doing. Yeah, it's really it's very, very cool. She's a phenomenal person, and I will often see people complaining about their mother-in-law or her families, and I'm forever thankful that I don't have somebody that I really disagree with or whatever. So that's very good,
right?
And incredibly supportive of what we do, which is nice.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I think we should. I have the promo video. I guess you had sent us for the kaiju.
Mm-hmm.
It was about 3.5 minutes.
About 3 minutes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think we should play that because I want people to see.
Yeah, and everything can be found. The website is redandtoothandclaw.art, which is a thing now, which is kind of cool. But yeah, www.redandtoothandclaw.art. You can get the book. It's got links to the music for the new record, music videos I did of it, this video, the first couple of chapters you can read online. I kind of hate that I have to charge money for stuff, but I do. So, but I try and put as much up for free as I can.
Artist. You're an artist, and you can't just give everything away. That's true. But I do try and give a lot. Like I've made gigs and gigs and gigs of print quality artwork available for free for like people will come to me for book covers, and if they can't afford it, I'm just like, here, just go here and use this stuff. So because you're a good person.
That is nice.
Well, you know what? I mean, I think I just really believe that art and culture and information all want to be free, and I try and because Lord knows I sample the shit out of stuff, so it's like hey, that's a really cool riff. I'm gonna take that and cut it up, and you're never gonna recognize it, but it's there, So I just think I'd be a real hypocrite if I didn't do that. But also, I just think that the more information available, the more art available to everybody, the better off we are. Full stop.
I think that's why I don't charge people to be on my show. There's fucking people out there who want to charge guests to be on their show, like to showcase their shit. Like, dude, really? I think it's a horrible thing. I'm sorry. I don't think that's cool because I have never charged a penny for any concert I've ever thrown, any festival I've ever done. Like the only people I charge are like maybe coming at the door and they're like $10 or something. I've never charged a band to play my shows or my music festivals. I have never charged one guest to appear on any of my fucking radio shows in the last goddamn 12 years. I just don't think that that's cool because I think that the world should see how amazing all of you artists are. You know what I mean? There's so many art forms out there, and I think, I don't know, I kind of like feel sometimes like I was put on this earth to do this, to showcase people's talents and how fucking incredible they are. Right. And I think the world needs to know more about you and other artists out there. whether it be a band, an author, an artist, like a visual artist, or a freak show performer, or a belly dancer. I don't give a fuck what it is. If you have an amazing art form that you want to showcase, you need more people like that are gonna do that and not be all like, oh, I'm a snooty bitch and I'm gonna charge you $100 to be on my fucking show because my shit don't stink and I'm so special. Anyway, motherfucker.
I don't know, Jenny. I'm a snooty bitch.
Nobody got time for that. I always did. I never did that pay to play bullshit. I fucking hate that. You know what I mean? I never did that shit. Like you, I think bands should make money.
Yeah, I know.
Bands should make money. Bands should make money. You shouldn't be charging them money. The bands drove there, man. It costs gas. It costs fucking. Do you know how many blood, sweat, and tears these motherfuckers had to put into one song? I just don't think it's cool. I'm sorry. I don't think it's cool. So I always did that whole, like, however many people you bring through the door, you get half of every ticket. So if it's like $10 at the door, the band gets $5 out of every ticket. The other $5 goes, well, to pay the venue or the sound guy or the other motherfuckers, the door person.
Oh, yeah.
I never get a fucking penny, but I don't care because I do it because I goddamn love it. To me, it's more about the music and the experience. It's not about all that other shit. I don't know. Maybe someday, you know, maybe someday something will shine down on me in fucking life. I don't know. Look, Shyler, you need to put me in for sainthood. It's all I fucking know. Saint Jenny. There you go. All right. Anyway,
okay. I'm there.
There's my stupidness for the moment. All right, I want to play this though because this is fucking incredible. And I was watching this and I was like, "This is fucking awesome." Yeah, people need to watch this. That's all I'm saying. All right, so I'm gonna put you guys in the waiting area, and we're gonna share the screen and play this. Hell to the yes. Okay. All right, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, here we go. We're gonna go share the screen. Ooh. Okay, we want this. We want this. Oh yes. All right, we're going. Hell yeah. That was phenomenal.
Love it.
Awesome!
I loved
Oh,
it.
shit.
Oh yeah, it caught my attention. I loved it.
Thanks.
Damn.
Yeah, it was
I was
very
blown away yet again.
difficult trying to distill at least the idea of the story down to something manageable. But I think I think that solution worked out pretty well.
I was really good. The graphic novel, like the way you have everything written in the chapters, kind of like how you have done. Just the artwork blew me away when I saw that. Not just watching the video, but just the way you had everything, the way the style, the coloring, I've never seen anything like this before, and I'm a huge kaiju person, so like I've been watching that since I was a fucking kid. You know, when they had the original, Godzilla movies. You know what I mean? They're from like the 70s and stuff. Mothra and Rodan and all these different like creatures and characters, and you're just like, this is like, it's new and exciting, and it's different than the standard boring old kaiju. You know what I mean? Like, this is
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it gives context. I think it gives a reason for it. The wolf is not an idiot. I am autistic, and one of the ways I have explained it to people is the wolf is kind of me at my most autistic. He's very, very smart and has almost no emotional intelligence whatsoever.
okay.
He has a very specific role that he plays. He and the others that are like him play in the universe, and he knows how to do that role. And everything gets fucked up when this other wolf, this kind of normal sized wolf, comes along and basically forces him to interact with her and she sees him as an individual and not just this god that is helping push humanity forward. And he really throws him off. He's like, I don't know how to handle this, and just basically runs off. It's some point or later on, he's over on the kind of over in Mesoamerica, and he hears her from the other side of the world crying in fear, and she's been captured. And he's like, well, I don't understand this, but that's my wolf, and I'm going to go and save her. And so he runs across the world, wiping out entire lines of humanity in the process of it. And she has grown to his giant size, but she's been captured. So he gets her out, and he experiences this idea of love and being seen as an individual and not just as his job for the first time. And things are great. They go after the beginning of the last ice age. They go to sleep underneath what eventually become the Rocky Mountains, and then he wakes up. She's missing. He goes down to the river, and she is dying because of this polluted river, and everything begins off of that. He just loses his mind, so
there's a lot. There's a lot to unpack there. I love it though, in the sense of like, it's almost like a commentary on like the pollution.
Well, and the thing is the world understand, like he does this every cycle of the universe. He helps humans evolve. So he understands technology. He understands that there is a reason for these things to happen. But this is the first time it's ever directly impacted him. Basically, his role, along with these other things like him in the universe, is that they collect all of the stories and the dreams and the ideas of the main species within their region of the universe and bring them all back to the center for the next big bang, to the singularity, and that's how the universe moves forward every cycle.
Wow.
By that's what it starts with, is whatever that was. So the sooner he can get humanity up and running, the more they can develop. And
Right.
so and the conflict comes in when he basically, after Cyan is the name of this maid, even though it's never mentioned in the book, she comes to him and he's like, okay, you've done this now for, this period of time. You've destroyed and killed all these people. You're kind of acting counter to what your role is. Your job is to push people forward, and you're not doing that. So now you need to figure out a way to get out of this without, so they can keep going without like just shutting the whole thing down. And so she's basically like, you need to let them kill you. And he's like, okay, fine, but I'm not going down without a fight. And so eventually that's what happens. And so he has to then deal with the existential crisis of dying and that whole experience, which is, again, something he's never dealt with before. So it's like I said, I'm incredibly proud of it, and I feel like he is self-aware enough to ask and consider a lot of important questions that all of us have to really think about. And
the depth is absolutely amazing. The length that you went through and is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I am deeply in love with these two characters. I'm working on kind of a side quel version of it. There's Cyan's story, the story told from her point of view, because I don't want her to be Mary Sue. Her role can't just be Red's girlfriend. So she actually does have like a much bigger role within the universe, like he does. Both of them have, in order to function, they have very, very selective memories. So they kind of have these thin slices of their own awareness at any given time of why they're around and what they're doing. So, so writing that has been very interesting, learning more about that, but within still having to deal with the constraints of what already exists. So without blowing that story up, I have to figure out how she fits into that and present her as, because she is equally as intelligent, but far, far, far more emotionally intelligent, emotionally self-aware. And so she is much better at kind of being able to go, okay, this is what's going on. Now we need to figure out how to make the most of it and how to use this. And she's just much more in touch with how she feels about things. So, she's, just kind of learning about how that all works has been really fascinating.
Wow.
It's a story, man. I can't wait for people to read it and get to see it and just experience what you've got, like, what you're bringing to the world. It's going to be awesome. So where can everybody find your book? Where is it at?
So www.redandtoothandclaw.art. It's also through Amazon. My publisher, Raw Dog Screaming Press, and the website links to everything. So you can read the first couple of chapters there, videos. There's all kinds of stuff there. Nice. And then the book actually has there's 7 chapters in the book itself, but there's 2 more that are downloadable. The first one acts as a segue between this and then another record I did called Apex Predator. So if I ever get around to doing stories that are in Apex Predator as a graphic novel, just acts as a segue. And then the last chapter is actually, it's presented as a magazine that called Decade, and it's from the point of view of this magazine that comes out 10 years after what we call Lupus Summer, so 10 years after all of this happens, and it's looking back at the socioeconomic fallout of the entire financial system in the United States getting destroyed. How the Catholic Church deals, it's like, okay, here's an actual real God, so how are you dealing with that?
Right.
The conspiracies that come out of it, anthropologists now able to pin down, okay, this is a real thing, and now being able to look back through history and seeing how the idea of this wolf has kind of manifested itself in the collective subconscious.
Right.
And I spoke with a number of my friends from religious scholars to actually a friend of mine who's a relatively high-ranking military guy about like how they would deal with the situation of the wolf, and also how like because we know humans know that his mate got killed, his mate died, and yeah, so he's over here in the U.S. destroying everything, but that's really sympathetic. Like, so the rest of the world is kind of like looking at him as this anti-hero, and like he becomes this essentially a pop star. Like he like within a week of all this happening,
Right.
boot T-shirts with his image on it, and you start seeing product like using him in marketing and all this stuff, and because they're kind of cheering him on. They're like, look, this is the find out part of the fuck around part for you guys over there. And yeah, really, some people are getting killed, but you know, while we're all still here, look, we get it. We understand this is horrible. This thing lost its mate.
Right.
How many others are there? We don't know of any other thing. So he is now alone, and we hate that for him. So there's an examination of how that is seen by the rest of the world, and it ends up with a nice statement from whoever the Dalai Lama would be in that time period, basically saying, look, yes, this has been really awful that has happened, but these are sentient, clearly intelligent creatures that were clearly emotional and in love, and we need to take time to really understand that and really internalize that, and maybe we can use that to see things better. And there's just other stories about just the recovery and you know, what happens when a giant wolf destroys your city and how it destroys the infrastructure. So,
Right.
And that kind of goes back to what I mean about this being very much the thing that I wanted to, or that I needed to have finally made at some point in my life, because it is so in depth, and because that's how I think I want, like, I put out a record with footnotes in it because I think it's important. And when you have the AD, there's always the parentheses thoughts of there's always some other thought underneath reference in each thing. So being able to do that finally with this book allowed me to like really look at this global impact and to this story. So it takes place on this universal scale, on the scale of the wolves. There's part of the book that takes place down like while he's destroying, takes place in individual stories of individual people just trying to survive in all of it, and then on the global impact. So it's I'm incredibly proud of it, and it was one of those things where
As you should be.
had this moment of I think I made something that might really matter to people besides just our fans. So
Right. Yeah. It's I like the fact that it's deep and it's more thought provoking.
yeah, I mean, you can also just read it as a kaiju story about somebody that, you know, this big wolf that destroys stuff, and hey, that's cool too. But
yeah, that's definitely cool too. I just like that there's more of a meaning to it. Just like lyrics of a song, I tend to like songs that typically say something.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And
more so, but
actually begins with the lyrics from the songs that are about from songs that I've done that are about those parts. So.
Well, I definitely want to bring you back at some point if you would love to come back. We've enjoyed having you here. Because next time I would definitely love to, showcase your music for your different art, for your different bands and stuff too. So that would be a good aspect next time. Yeah.
Well, next year
I would definitely
have new material from both bands, and then once Donna gets her next book together, so there's always new stuff happening.
Definitely, and I would love to put you on our rotation on our radio station and stuff with our music, kind of, if that's okay with you. Kind of get more out there, more exposure for people, the better. You know what I mean? Because people need to see different art styles, different music, different things out there in the world. That's why I like that this is a worldwide platform, and we're on Rock Free Radio, so we're music and entertainment just in general based, and then we have our own TV channel and radio station. So we kind of like to showcase the video side of things, but also the audio side of things with this just music in general. So I think that's amazing, and just thank you so much for being on the show today. We appreciate you for taking the time out of your busy day, and we know you just got back from tour, so I'm sure you're freaking exhausted. And
we just got back from Ohio today, so yeah.
Wow, see, that's what I'm saying. You a go-getter, I'm telling you.
I think the point. But, yeah, well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Hell yeah. So, again, tell everybody where they can find your projects.
So the book you can find at redandtoothandclaw.art. Bandcamp for everything else. Stoneburner band or Stoneburner official on Bandcamp. There's another Stoneburner that was like a Portland sludge metal band. So if you find something that doesn't sound like car crashes, it's not me. And then Ego Like This is, and Stoneburner is on Cop International. Ego Like This is on Metropolis, and also on Bandcamp. And also I have my own little mini record label called Wolfcore Records that has all my other weird projects on. So that's got the manifestation of all this stuff called Hopeful Machines. And there's about 50 of those. Another project called Ocellus, which is a really, really ugly metal project that I do that's just it's not pleasant to listen to, but I think it's really interesting. And another one called Queen Neon, which is my take on I don't know, kind of 80s synthwave stuff. And another one called the Trinity Project, which is, again, myself and Donna, and that was more abstract, soundtracky type things, but with Donna doing poetry and stuff like that.
Nice. I love it.
So,
hell yeah. Yeah, we definitely want you to come back on.
If you Ego Likeness, and if you look up Ego Likeness Big Cartel, I have that. There's tons of original artwork up there.
Nice
prints and just T-shirts and other stuff.
Okay, awesome. I posted the link to Ego Likeness, and then I'll go post the link for the Red and Claw too. So I'll go put that one up there also, so that people can kind of be able to click on either one. So that'd be good. Awesome. Well, I can't wait to bring you back on to showcase your music next time. So I'm excited for that. But again, thank you so much, especially for taking the time to be out with us today, especially if you just got back from tour. So we really appreciate you and everything that you put out into the world. And can I just say one last thing? You have badass fucking hair, dude. I'm just saying.
I know.
Just saying.
I've been sitting here wondering, how is he getting it to stay that way this whole entire time?
What
song is that?
The color palette with the block, man, dude.
For many years, it was bright pink and blue. And then we started touring all the time, and so I went to just the blue and the black, and now I'm 53, and so I'm just going with the gray because dyeing your hair is pain in the ass.
Why not?
I'm 51, and I still live out of a bottle, so
there's nothing wrong with that at all.
I'm stubborn.
Look the way you look, you're happy. I had this guy stop me one time, and he was like, why do you dress like this? And I was like, you know how when you get up in the morning and you make yourself look in the mirror the way you do in your head? It's like, that's all I do. And he got it. Like he actually, I think it made sense. Like you can't really argue with that. And I had a German magazine. I did an interview with them, and they were like, so do you always dress like this Mad Max? I'm like, this is just who I am. This is what I have essentially looked like since I was 16. I've had a mohawk since I was 16 in some form, and I don't know how to tie ties at 53, so
I don't know. Maybe in my head, I just think everybody should look like that, like some badass motherfucker. Like, I don't know.
Well, it's comfortable. I used to be in a band with a guy who was a corporate lawyer who fought for the little guys, and he looks very much like I'm 6'2" and he's a little bit taller than I, so he's probably like 6'4". Suit, short hair, and we were in this really crazy power noise band where both of us were just playing drums, and I would have people come up to me and they'd be like, how are you in the band with this guy? And I'm like, that guy changes the world. Like, that guy makes the world a better place for all of us.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's
Lucky
cool.
for making that. Like, if you don't want people to judge you for the way that you look, how dare you judge him because he wears a suit? You know, like,
Yeah.
like
Everybody's different.
I had to do jury duty one time, so I was sitting in the courthouse, just kind of waiting, killing time. And this lawyer walks by me, stops. He's like, "Oh yeah, I really like that." And he's like, "I don't really dress like this all the time. Like, he should be apologizing to me for some reason." I'm like, "Oh, you're a lawyer. I should hope you do. You know, like that's part of it. You know, like the certain uniforms, and this gets me out of a lot of shit too. Like when we're on tour in Europe, it's really easy to just walk up to people and not be the ugly American and just be like, "Hi, American band on tour. You can tell by the uniform. I don't know how to get here. Can you help me?" You know, so it's like
That's awesome.
It's just like, yeah,
That's badass.
Hell yeah.
So,
I don't know.
but thank you. I'm glad it still works.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's
badass.
awesome.
That's all I'm gonna say. Things I've always wanted to do with my hair.
You right?
Color, dude. I always wanted a fucking eyebrow pierce, a nose pierce, a lip pierce. I wanted shitloads of tattoos. I wanted to have crazy fucking hair and colors. I got one tattoo, dude. It's on my fucking shoulder blade. And that's what I'm saying. This is what I always wanted to do, dude. But because I always worked in an office or
You know what's crazy?
McDonald's, can't have
People do
tattoos.
that now. Like, I see kids in like Walmart or wherever, like in even more other jobs or like hotels, whatever, like respectable jobs with the colored hair and the tattoos. Like, I think at this point they're just like happy to have somebody that works there, and if they do, and that's always been my opinion anyway. It's like, I think with IT, you know, people has normalized so much of that because so many of our ilk are good with that sort of thing. So like, now it's like, well, who do you want, you know, in charge of your IT department? The guy with the blue hair. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I grew up in that era though, where it's like you're not allowed to look like that, and if you have tattoos, you have to cover them. You have to cover them with wearing long sleeves.
Take your nose ring out.
Oh, I'm not allowed to wear my earrings and my fucking shit and all the take it all out. Fuck you.
Thankfully, it's not like that as much anymore, which is good. And you see, you know, we travel a lot, obviously, and I see a lot more people on the street who are not part of any of this counterculture thing with green hair or doing whatever they're doing. I think it's much more normalized. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's, you know.
Guess my brain hasn't fucking caught up yet. Eventually it will. I want to be that person. It's just, God damn it. Fuck. Anyway. But I work in the entertainment industry, so that's where I want to go, is just entertainment and not work for some other asshole. Anyway, someday my dreams will come true. Anyway.
Well, I like working with Jimmy, so I can't say some other asshole, but I do want to do the same thing.
Dude, if being friends with celebrities and meeting celebrities and going to some of the biggest, most iconic fucking concerts and festivals and shit in my life, if that makes me rich, I'm the richest bitch on the planet. And I am happy as fucking hell for my entertainment family. That's all I care about. Money isn't always everything. Money isn't always everything. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's nice, but fuck it. I'd rather just be happy doing what I do with the people that I fucking love doing it with. So like the Mac Daddy of metal, Schuyler Staver, the sultry songstress, Amy Bowman, and our newfound friend, Stephen Archer. Woo! Welcome to the family, motherfucker. That's all I'm going to say. Well, thank you again so much for being on the show today and taking the time out. We really appreciate you, man. And let us know whenever you want to come back on, and we'll gladly get you on to showcase your music.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Shout out to everybody out there, and thank you for watching the broadcast tonight. We really appreciate you. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow. And especially go check out all Stephen Archer's stuff, and I'm going to be posting links. So have a good night. Stay safe. And we'll be back tomorrow with Fear and Fascination, Horror, Sci-Fi, and Fantasy Unleashed. We're going to have a little bit of true crime in the house. A little bit of murder. Sounds like some horror shit to me.
Sounds like mayhem.
Next week on Wicked Entertaining, we're going to have Michael Blackwell, hip-hop artist.
Oh,
we're
shit.
going to have on Fear and Fascination, we're going to have next Saturday on the 31st, we're going to have a little bit of Joe Castro, special effects artist. Wait until you see some horrifying shit that we're going to bring to you. And then, let's see, one last one before we go. Then the Friday, September 6th, we got Latest Regret. Thanks to the Mac Daddy and Schuyler Staver. So,
local punk rock band right here.
We'll be back tomorrow with more insanity from Jenny and the gang. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.